Okay.
Good afternoon. This is the regularly scheduled bi-monthly meeting of the Architectural Review Board. The Review Board is a city board appointed by City Council to serve on a volunteer basis. The board is charged by city law to review new construction and exterior changes within Mobile's historic districts. Due to the necessity of following CDC guidance and local and state orders, the meeting is being conducted remotely, and the public may follow the proceedings via live stream on the city's website. Anyone wishing to address comments to the board may either send those comments in writing by email or the U.S. Postal Service to the Historic Development Office, being sure to include one's name, home address, and the agenda item being addressed, or contact the Historic Development Office to be placed on the list of speakers in the Zoom meeting. Comments and requests to speak in the meeting must be received by 5 p.m. on the day before the ARB meeting to ensure consideration by the board. Staff will introduce each application to the board and briefly outline the request. At that time, the chair will convene a public hearing to review the application. All comments must be addressed to the board. After comments from the applicant, the chair will ask for comments from concerned parties. Members of the public wishing to address the board in the meeting will be admitted to the meeting from the Zoom waiting room when their item of interest is announced. The concerned parties will be introduced to the board and the applicants. After comments from the applicant and concerned parties, the board will determine the appropriate action for the request. When the item of interest is concluded, the concerned parties will be returned to the Zoom waiting room. Following the meeting, staff will generate correspondence notifying the applicant of the board's actions. Appeals of the review board concerning building issues are heard by City Council. There's a 15-day period to file the notice of appeal with the city clerk. Would the chair call the meeting to order?
Thank you, Christine. Welcome, everybody. Just a quick reminder, if you could mute your microphone until called upon or voting, that would eliminate some background noise. Other than that, would you call roll, please?
Certainly. Jim Wagner.
Here.
Joseph Rodriguez.
Here.
Katarina Eccles.
Here.
Andre Rathley.
Here.
Kim Harden.
Here.
Gypsy Van Antwerp.
Here.
Kathleen Huffman.
Here.
Janelle Finley.
Here.
Steve Stone.
Here.
Craig Roberts.
Here.
Have I missed anyone?
All right, good crowd today. I appreciate everyone coming. I'm looking for a motion to approve minutes as posted by staff.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as stated.
Thank you, Joe. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Everyone in with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Before we get to the mid-months, I'll need someone to make the motion to accept all agenda items.
I'll do that. I'll do that, Steve. I move that the Architecture Review Board find that all agenda items listed for the January 6, 2021 ARB meeting be adopted as necessary for the performance of the ARB's essential minimum function.
Thank you, Jim. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Thank you, Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Last thing, I just need a motion to approve mid-months as granted by staff.
I move that the mid-month submitted by the staff be approved.
Thank you, Jim. I hear a second.
Second, Kim Harden.
Thank you, Kim. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Would you read the first application, Ms. Dawson?
Certainly. The subject property, 916 Church Street, is located within the Oakley Garden Historic District. The application under review involves construction of a 4-unit townhouse building on a corner lot. Several items are taken into account for new construction residences, including placement, mass, scale, and building components. With regard to placement, 2 components are taken into account: setback from the street and distance between buildings. The design review guidelines for new residential construction in Mobile's historic districts state that new buildings should be responsive to and maintain the alignment of traditional facade lines, as well as the rhythm of side and rear setbacks. The property under review, the corner lot, is located adjacent to and in the vicinity of contributing buildings. In accord with the design guidelines, the setbacks reflect the historical character of the contributing aspects of the built landscape. The proposed placement negotiates the placement of the buildings located within 150 feet of the site, including the brick commercial building located at the northwest corner of Church of Broad Streets and the frame American Foursquare directly across the street from the site at 919 Church Street. The driveway and interior parking would be respectful of traditional placement patterns. The design review guidelines state that mass, the relationship of the parts of the larger whole comprising a building, for new construction should be in keeping with arrangement and proportion of surrounding historic residences. The proposed townhouse building adopts a traditional row house massing in a neighborhood that includes 1- and 2-story single-family residences, 2- to 6-story and 2- to 6-story apartment buildings. A side gabled roof would top the building. Although the proposed cast iron balconies on the building's south elevation are not typical of the district, they are typical for the building type. The outward massing of the building, a rectangular block, is similar to massing found in the neighborhood. The height of the foundation is similar to the foundation heights of nearby historic structures. The massing of the structure, the first floor being 11 feet 6 inches below a 9-foot second-story height, is compatible with the architectural context of the contributing landscape in which it is situated. Scale refers to a building's size in relationship to other buildings. The design review guidelines for new residential construction state that new construction should be in scale with nearby historic buildings. The adjacent residences to the north facing Government Street are 1 and 2 stories in height, and the house on the lot to the immediate east along Church Street is 1 1/2 story in height. The houses to the south across Church Street range in height from 1 to 2 stories, and the condominium building to the northwest across Marine Street is 8 stories. As mentioned in the preceding paragraph addressing massing, the height of the ceilings and pitch of the roof combine to form a whole that would be compatible with surrounding architectural landscape. With regard to building components, the guidelines call for responsiveness to traditional design patterns. The simple paneled doors employed for the front entrances reflect doors seen on residences in the district, and the use of 6/6 sashes is well precedented in the district. The wall treatments are visually compatible with the surrounding architectural and historic context. The proposed window spacing mimics a traditional solid to void ratio along the south elevation. In accord with the design guidelines for new construction, the building materials blend with those employed in the past and in immediate surroundings. Aluminum clad windows are approved for new construction within Mobile's historic districts. Based on section B above, staff believes the proposed new construction of 4-unit townhouse building on the property would not impair the historic character of the surrounding district. Staff recommends approval in concept of the application.
Thank you, Ms. Dawson. Welcome, Douglas, and I think Taylor is on as well. Welcome to you both. Anything to add?
I think Christine covered it fine. Taylor? No, I think that's a great review. You know, Douglas and I are pretty excited about the project and just kind of wanted to hear Christine's review and any comments that you know, that y'all may have. We're, you know, this is kind of the step before the step to get going, and just wanted to hear from y'all.
Okay, great. Before we go to the board, do we have anyone from the public?
There is no one who signed up to speak in the meeting. I did forward the only written comments we received.
Okay, and that was a positive comment, correct?
It was.
Okay. And I'll just remind the board that this is an approval for concept only, so they would obviously have to come back for a final design application. So I'll open it up to questions from the board.
Yeah, this is Joe Rodriguez. What is the outside going to be? Brick? I don't see, or the roof. What's the proposed finishes?
The outside, I believe, I don't believe it's going to be brick. The roof, probably architectural dimensional shingles.
Okay. Any other comments from the board?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Craig.
This is just a conceptual proposal. Do we go through the normal, you know, facts and all that? And
No,
approval
yeah, we will
request?
still do that because it's still an application, but all we're approving is the general concept of the development and the massing and scale of what's been presented.
Okay.
All right. Well, I make a motion we find facts written by staff.
Thank
Hey,
you, Craig.
Craig, hold on a minute. I think there was a question from another board member who said she wasn't able to come in, and it was just about Douglas, and y'all may or may not know the answer to this yet, but I think her question had to do about the garbage can pickup or something.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now, Jim. She said, this is from Carrie Moore, and a board member, alternate member. She says, it appears as the garbage can will consist, or the trash pickup will consist of rolling cans stored behind a designated fenced area. Will trash service enter the property to enter into the property to empty the cans, or do they have to be brought curbside? I think that was her. And how is that maintained?
We're not really to that point yet. Obviously, I don't believe the if they were city cans, the city would come on to private property. So they would have to be either rolled out or be privately.
Yeah. What do you do on Old Shell, Taylor?
On Old Shell, we have a dumpster service. You know, that's something we're kind of working on. We didn't feel like the scale of this project, we felt like a dumpster would be kind of the wrong direction and the wrong feel for the kind of village townhome thing we're trying to create. So we are looking for, you know, a good solution. But I really don't have a full answer on that yet.
That's fine. You know, I would just, you know, make sure it's obviously addressed at the full application.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we had a motion to, were there any other questions?
Well, this is Joe, that does bring up another question. When we approve this, is this concept gonna be set in place? Because that's a good question as far as the garbage disposal. Does that mean, from what I'm looking at here, that we're saying that, okay, you've got this garbage can storage located here, which looks like it's gonna be hard for, if it's cans, how to, you know, they don't get on the site, so how do you dispose of the garbage? And if we approve it, does this mean that, okay, well, you guys already said this was okay?
Well, I mean, my answer to that is, and that's a good question. Any enclosure would obviously, the design of it would be under our purview. As far as how the site functions, that's kind of a gray area as far as our, and Kristen, you can chime in on that, but I mean, that would be more of a permitting and zoning planning than ours, as far as where and how they pick up the garbage. Ours is more of what does the enclosure look like?
Mhm.
Okay. So in other words, we're just looking at the concept of the building itself.
Correct.
Okay, all right,
Building and the general layout of the site.
okay.
I did have a question. This is Kim Harden. I just want, it looks like the 8 units on Church are lined up. I just wondered if there was any consideration of offsetting like the second set of units or adding some break in that continuous frontage.
Well, there is a gap between their two. If you look carefully, Kim, there's a gap between the two
Yeah.
buildings.
It's 2 groups of 4.
2 groups of 4.
Yeah,
Right.
with like a
You have a
36.
little wall between them to create a little courtyard area.
Well, I know it would add a lot of expense to offset within the 4, but I can't, the scale I'm looking at, I'm sorry, I missed the wall part, but just a question.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, Kim, I mean, I think that's something we looked at early on. We're so squeezed by the site that although we won't have a break in the actual layout of the buildings, but we will break the buildings with downspouts and landscaping to give, some sense of soften that kind of hard wall, I think what you're commenting on.
And it may be that when you put that wall between or the fence between the 2 sets of 4, you could recess it slightly or something like that, just to make sure that plane is broken up, but just a suggestion.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have room and plans to do a pretty substantial tree in that area. You can see we also lined up a kind of a bump out on Church Street there. So we're hoping to kind of make a pretty big break there, whether by the wall or the landscaping.
All right.
we do have
Also,
units on Marine and Church too. So if you notice that the Marines ones project slightly forward of the sides of the ones on Church.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions from the board?
yes, this is Craig again.
Okay.
Don't forget, we also are supposed to approve a landscaping plan with. your vote.
Eventually, yes. That would be in the final.
And the garbage thing is certainly something to look into.
Agreed.
But as long as that's not what we're really doing today, well, I guess we can proceed, right?
Correct. If there's no other questions.
I have a comment. This is Kathleen Huffman.
All right.
I know it was noted in the staff's review about the cast iron railings, I guess it's not quite a balcony, but I was wondering if y'all had thought about any other, like Kim was saying, this is just going to be one long mass and there's not really much break to it. And between the street and the building itself, I mean, I feel like this building is great for like Lower Dolphin and that kind of area, but for like Church Street, there's not much play, I guess, between the building and the street. As far, there's a stoop. Have y'all thought about maybe more of a front porch, that kind of consideration instead of the iron railing, or is?
So again,
And maybe I may have overstepped there, but.
no, I mean, like as Taylor mentioned, the site is restricted pretty much, and we've got a setback, and we've got to have steps up to the building and all that. We really, I mean, a porch would be so shallow, it really would not be, to me, in my opinion, would not be very appropriate for, we wouldn't accomplish what we really want to do.
Okay. Kathleen, are you good?
Yeah, I have one
Sorry, I
last.
got myself on mute.
I have
Craig,
one
may I
last question.
Hold on. We have 2 people talking.
Okay. Is that
Joe?
Go
correct?
ahead, Joe. Go ahead,
Okay.
Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
Looking in the driveway here, I see this hatched area, which seems to suggest maybe accessibility. Are there any accessible apartments that are going to be put in this? this site? Is that what I'm looking at too?
Could you say that again? Are there going to be an accessible apartments?
I think he's asked if any of the units will be accessible. Yeah, I mean, they're 2-story units, right?
Yeah. I don't believe that will be required under code. I mean, they are 2-story units. Some of them will have downstairs bedrooms, and we can, they're all pretty much zero entry from the ground, from the backside. Of course, they have steps in the front, and they are designed to have a step up in the back. But if we did have an accessible client wishing to buy, someone needing that, wishing to buy one of these units, I'm sure modifications could be made.
Yeah, I was just looking at, I guess this in the parking area, this hatched area is simply for this pedestrian circulation into the parking area then, huh?
I think anytime you are tasked with making a legal parking lot, you have certain handicap parking requirements regardless of what product you're providing.
That is correct.
Okay, Craig, did you have a question?
Well, I wanted to make a comment about the porches on front. And, of course, that's a good point about that area having the houses with all the porches. However, we're approving this concept.
Right.
This concept is like an Italianate townhouse look with the narrow little porch up top and the front door townhouse look, which is not that at all. It would require a complete redo. And I'm sure that, that I don't think these can be at all redesigned without total redesign to another style, which is not what they're asking for today. They're asking for approval of this concept of this type of townhouse. And I might add, though, I thought about throwing this in, but didn't a while ago. So now I'll go ahead and do it after that. And that is, I see one front door with 2 panels of glass. Maybe it might be nice if each of the front doors were all in the proper style, but all varied. And so you had at least different front doors on all these units,
Yeah, that's a consideration too.
Right. And maybe they'd be painted different colors too. That's what you see in London a lot of times, unless you're trying to be sterile and everything looks just alike. Exactly. But, if they're trying to be charming, that's just something to think about. And this is all conceptual right now.
Correct.
So whenever y'all want me to go back to finding facts, I will.
Well, that being said, we do have a motion to find facts, but I'm looking for a second.
I'll second. This is Joseph.
All right, Joe, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Facts are found.
All
Need
right.
a motion of action.
I usually motion Douglas's projects.
Go
So
for it.
I will make a motion that this project does not impair the historic integrity of the neighborhood and be granted a COA.
In concept.
Nice second.
In concept, yeah.
Thank you. I think Joe came in with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Craig, for your motion.
Thank
Happy New
you,
Year to
guys.
everybody.
Anytime.
Good luck.
See y'all later.
All right. I guess before we leave, Christine, do you have anything besides the chair vote?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I guess by our regulations, we need to vote for chair and vice chair for this year. And I'm going to go back to the regular population this year voluntarily. So if anyone has any nominations that they'd like to bring up, bring up.
Joseph, I nominate Steve.
I appreciate the nomination, but I'm gonna pass this year.
I second Joe's nomination. You're not gonna get out of this.
You can't back out yet.
If you need a third, I'll third it.
I appreciate it.
All in
Anybody?
favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Motion passes.
You guys are killing me. All right, let's table this to next week or next period. I guess since no one wants to do it. Sure, I'll buy you a coffee.
You can run, but you can't hide.
All right, yeah. Anything else?
Hey, Christine, I'm just curious. I, of course, have seen some of the public news items regarding Spanish Plaza and then know that it was withdrawn. Do you have any indication if the city's rethinking the gas lanterns, which seem to be the primary concern?
I have been informed that there may be some rejiggering or redesign of the candle power because it appears that what is currently being proposed, that was carefully considered, may not be exactly the color of lighting that was expected. When folks went out and looked at similar lighting that exists in the city, it had a little more of a white appearance than they thought. They thought it would be more of the yellow kind of orangish gassy glow, and it's not quite that. So there may be a slight change in the lighting design.
Can y'all hear me at all?
Yes,
You
sir.
sure can.
Can I make a comment?
You sure can.
Well, here's the deal. People are ruining lighting with all the new LED, but if you know what you're doing, it can be done right. And what we want is for them to do 27K should be the term that's used when specifying bulbs, that you want a warm white incandescent feeling. And so
and
most
Craig,
people
that's
have
exactly
no idea
where they're
about
going.
it. Okay. And also, there are some very clever new LED bulbs that look like gas lanterns flashing. I mean, that actually look like a flame. And, they wouldn't be as bright, but, you're correct in everything you said. Thank goodness they're revisiting it. Otherwise, it'll look like that gas station on Government Street that has those LED lights all around the windows that looks like a Mexican carnival. This is a real problem with all this new lighting because with people who don't know what they're doing, and it drives me nuts when I see it because that's just my, that's
Craig,
what I think.
Craig, do you know of any locations that have a historic appearing LED like out in Spring Hill or somewhere that looks like more like the gas flickering, because that's what we've been looking for so we could see it.
Well, if I recall, at A&W Lighting on Hillcrest Road, they may have, I have seen, but the one that looks like actually flame looking is not going to be maybe as bright as the city wants to light up the park. That's the next problem. It's like the lanterns need to have the original gas flames, even though I know how expensive those are to run. And then there needs to be some sort of a moon lighting thing up in the trees to shine down to give general lighting rather than trying to do any kind of general lighting from the antique lantern posts, is my opinion. Because trying to make the antique lighting posts do anything for security lighting in a park is not going to look good at all, even if it's 27K, but at least that would be at least enough to help. But I can look into this and see.
If anybody knows of a location where the representative for this could go and look at them, I would certainly appreciate you letting Christine know. We've been searching. The manufacturer that we have is a local company that gave us the information that matches the appearance, but we can't find it installed with the proper LED. So any help would be appreciated. And really the lanterns, as I understand it, are supposed to be more ambient light, just so that there is enough light that things can't be going on that can't be seen, by the police or by a passerby walking down the sidewalk. So it's not supposed to be bright. The brighter lights are the like right now there's some awful looking spots up on that tall pole that will be replaced and be more focused and provide more of the security aspects from the drone.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I will just go ahead.
I mean, I'm happy that the park is getting redo. The light, but it's just, and I love the idea of the fountain and all the lighting in the fountain would be great. But sometimes, a very traditional park changing into this LED lighting syndrome can do a lot of damage. It'll look like light pollution rather than lighting you want.
Definitely.
But yeah, Kim, I'll do that. I'll check into that. I sure will.
That would be great. Anybody
and
that
I know
has
the people that,
suggestion.
Linda St. John, who's in charge of the Village of Spring Hill, I'll ask to see if she has done anything in that realm. I don't think our new street lights in Spring Hill are LED, are lantern looking. They're actually more like old timey globe kind of things.
Yeah.
So and are these new lanterns? When I look at these specs, I didn't look that close. Is the glass going to be clear so you see the bulb?
Yeah.
In the lantern?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe yes. I think to replicate the existing as much as possible.
Well, if it's opaque glass or glass that is antiqued enough, sort of, it can muffle the effect of an ugly bulb. And sometimes that's what, in fact, a globe does. It's like a white globe, the old-timey white globes hanging from the ceiling.
Well, that certainly, or some sort of, glass that's modeled in some, like wavy a little bit would do that too.
There can be things that are done to help that situation,
All right.
Okay, I'll look into that for you. I'll get back.
That being said, we've been getting a lot of emails on this application, and I know personally, I have gotten emails sent to my personal account, and per our conflict of interest regulations, we are not allowed to speak to anyone about any application outside of these meetings. So let's keep that in mind. If someone emails you and wants to get your feel for it, I just forwarded it to Christine forwarded this gentleman to Christine and said I couldn't respond. So keep that in mind. Anything else?
Yes, Steve, I have a quick question, and this is just in preparation for the next meeting. Considering that the city is really looking for the same sort of ambience that the gas lights were producing, why are we switching from gas to LED? Just out of curiosity.
I think I can partially answer that. The height of the existing lanterns doesn't really provide very much at all lighting.
Okay.
These are about a foot taller, which will project the light further in the path. Several of them are in really poor condition, and the lanterns are missing on at least two or more. So, it's not doable to just place them on better gas lights, but yeah.
Kim, has the city asked Charleston, Savannah, or New Orleans about this? Because I'm sure they are going through the same thing. It might be interesting to contact those cities and, get to the right person in the right department. Savannah's about the size of Mobile, and see what they have done, because maybe they have solved this problem and all we have to do is copy it,
Yeah, I guess for as much attention that we put on making people rebuild things, especially wood windows when they're very expensive, it would seem like if you had a good metalsmith, coppersmith, that you could recreate the damaged ones or fix the damaged ones and just relamp them with, I mean, keep them as gas. But I mean, again, this is getting into discussing an application, so I'm going to stop talking about next week.
Well, wait just a minute. Let me say one more final thing, and Kim will understand this. The cost of a single flame on a gas lantern, like at home in a residence, and they are not as big as the flames in commercial or park gas lanterns. One flame costs $20 a month to run out of real gas. So you start adding those up, because I had 4 flames in my house, and that was $80 a month I was paying for the look, and I tore them all out and got those Pottery Barn flicker candles that run by batteries, and I'm saving about $1,000 a year. So that's one of the reasons the city wants to go to LED, I have a feeling, because the cost of the gas is very expensive.
But
when you add up all over town, before you know it, you're into thousands of dollars just to pay for the flicker of the beautiful gas lantern. Of course, let me tell you, people come here and comment on our beautiful gas lanterns with real gas flames all the time, because in my tours I do of the city, that's one of the things they bring up the most often. Look how beautiful that y'all still have those gas flames in the lanterns. I mean, they say that all the time. So here we are now getting rid of it all. It's not a good thing, I guess.
One comment was that the existing lanterns, if they're replaced, I mean, the posts and all, might be available to be installed along Church Street. Right now, the gas lights don't go very far. They're just right in that area around the chamber and the plaza. So that was just something.
But they still have to fix them.
Right, but I'm just saying they would be more the scale of what
Okay.
They could be reused, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying.
It's a lot of thought needs to go into this, that's for sure.
Well, I have a question.
I gotta go.
At any rate, this application, it sounds like this whole thing is tabled about the gas lights for another time. Is it?
Yes. Yeah. The actual hearing.
20th.
Yes.
I believe it's supposed to be on the agenda the 20th.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right.
I'll check in. I'll call you, Kim. I'll try to find out something. And if y'all can try to get in touch with Savannah or somewhere and see what they've done.
I'll suggest that. Thank you for the ideas.
Alrighty.
Christine, anything else?
Yeah.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.